KKK took my baby away, took her away, away from me.
What's going on, friends? Logan Myerz here for Cinephellas.com. Really excited to talk about the film I just saw in the theater, Spike Lee's new movie, BlacKkKlansman. BlacKkKlansman is a movie I only watched like one trailer, didn't really know much about it, and went in with fresh eyes and really had a great time. So tonight I really want to talk about this film and how excellent it was. So let's talk about it, shall we? So in this film we have John David Washington. John David Washington is the son of Denzel Washington, and watching this film, I kept thinking, I'm like, this guy really sounds like Denzel Washington. He's doing like an impression. Later to find out after watching it, did a little research about the movie. It is actually Denzel Washington's son. It all makes sense. Not to mention he actually looks like Denzel, his father. So that's really great. He's got great genes. And John David Washington plays Ron Stallworth, which is the first black African-American cop in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And he comes in, he's a paper pusher, he works on records. He knows he's meant for something more. So he works his way up within the department really fast in this movie. He reads this article in the local Colorado Springs newspaper about the KKK, so he calls them up and ends up talking to them and finding out how to become a member and things like that, and really sets up the story. Right off the bat, this is a really great story. It's based on a true story in Colorado Springs, in times of, segregations and blacks and whites. Black people going into the workforce or school or whatever, they were looked down upon. It's a very sad and tragic but true story. And the way that Spike Lee went about this movie was a very phenomenal job. I'm a huge fan of Spike Lee. I remember seeing He Got Game when I was a kid. I went to see it with my dad in the theater. Probably not a movie you want to take your kid to see, but I've been a fan of his for a long time. And he's a really great, underrated director, I would say. He's got a lot of great films. One of Spike Lee's best movies in a long time, I'm going to be honest with you. And this movie I really didn't know much about, just going in off one trailer and coming out of the theater, and just how much it impacted me and my wife, and just how it relates to times in 2018. And he's talking to the Ku Klux Klan over the phone. They think he's a white guy, just the way that he presents himself over the phone. He infiltrates the KKK and becomes the head of that local chapter up in Colorado Springs back in the 70s. It's such an interesting and profound storyline that actually happened, and then the way they capture the story with all, the actors, and the chemistry throughout the film was just really top notch. So with Ron Stallworth, going up to Colorado Springs, I've got a soft spot for Colorado Springs, Colorado. My wife and I go there every year, at least once a year. We went there on our honeymoon, so the way I look at Colorado Springs now is completely different after seeing this film, because just everything that happened back in the 70s. So I'm going to talk about the cast. I saw Adam Driver was attached to this. I'm a huge Adam Driver fan. Obviously Kylo Ren, him and Girls, him and Logan Lucky. He's just really top of his game right now. And anything this guy is in, I'm on board, because he's just a really great actor. And I think he's kind of underrated. Adam Driver's character is the white version. So with John David Washington talking on the phone, he can't show up because he's a black guy in the 70s, and obviously KKK will not like that too much. So that's when Adam Driver's character comes in. He's got like the mic from back in the day, kind of like this, under his shirt, and he's trying to gain this relationship with them and gain their trust. And there's one guy in this group, in this chapter, that really catches on to Adam Driver's character early on, like, are you a Jew? Are you a cop? Just because he asks so many questions when he's hanging out with these guys. And they're, like a bunch of rednecks. That really sets up some tension with this group of people. And a lot is at stake for, the police force going into this KKK and trying not to ruffle any feathers and not to really show his true identity. So there was a lot at stake early on, and it built a lot of tension that really kept me involved. And I absolutely love that about this movie. Another character that was caught off guard by was David Duke, played by Topher Grace. Yes! Eric from that 70s show, he's back. We haven't seen him in a long time, but him portraying this character, he's like the director of the KKK. He lives in Louisiana, and he's the one that's talking to Stallworth, throughout the entire movie, and making sure that he gets his card before they had the burning of the cross. And I'll say the first few acts of the movie has a lot of momentum, has a lot going on, with history and things like that. It's a really great message, what's going on in 2018. And, leading up to the end of the film, there's a few slow burn parts of the movie, specifically towards the end. Just a few parts that are a little dry and a little slow. But the entire movie just really kept me invested. There's a lot of messages here with history and our past and things like that in U.S. history. And leading up to 2018, I don't want to get into politics. I'm not a political person. I know how politics in 2018 between Democrats and Republicans divide people and bring out the worst in us. And that's not really what I want to go at, with this film. With a lot of stuff in this movie in the 1970s with bigotry and racism, these are things that are happening in 2018. I'm not going to say the president, but bringing out the worst in people and dividing us instead of bringing us together. And, that's the overall message we have here. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are. It doesn't matter. We're all human beings. We should all be together, come together, for the better of mankind. And I think that's what Spike Lee's going at with this movie, and I really appreciated it. I really, really loved it, and I will say this is definitely one of the best movies of the year thus far. I'm going to be really surprised if this movie is not nominated for an Oscar for best, lead actor, best story, best script, best movie, whatever. And the way that this movie ends with modern times and things that are happening, and out on the East Coast, or the president and things like that, it's like a big punch in the gut. And seeing how everything back then, what African Americans were coming across to live their daily lives, the things they overcome, the struggles. So overall, I love the BlacKkKlansman. It is definitely one of the best films of the year. I'm going to be very surprised if it's not up for an Oscar. And again, one of Spike Lee's best movies in my opinion. And I just had an absolute blast with it. It's a movie that makes you think. It pulls on so many emotions, and he pulls that out of you as an audience. It really makes you think, and there's a lot of great messages here. John David Washington, Denzel's son, did a stand-up performance in this movie, and hopefully he gets some sort of nomination for this, from going from a pro football player to being an actor. He's got good genes. It's in his blood to be an actor, and I can't wait to see more of his performances on the big screen, and hopefully he has a lot more work in the future just from this movie. I loved Adam Driver, just a great cast, a great story, great soundtrack. So definitely go check it out on the big screen, support this movie. It's well worth it, and I highly recommend it. I'm going to give Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman a 4.5 out of 5. Hey, pieces. So what did you guys think of the BlacKkKlansman? Do you guys like Spike Lee? What did you guys think of this film? What did you think of John David Washington's performance? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from my favorite place in the world, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Until next time, cheers!